Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Am I the A-Hole? Story 1 is by Such Error 34. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my airplane seat to a tall person? Hey everyone, bit of a weird situation and I'm not sure if I'm an a-hole or not. Happy to have my perspective challenged. Last week I was taking a 12-hour flight that I had booked months in advance. At the time of booking, I paid extra to choose my seat. The seat I chose was $55 extra and right at the front of the plane, trying to arrive somewhere on time upon landing. The seat also happened to be an extra legroom seat, and I am a 4'11" female. I check in, board, sit in my seat as usual, but as soon as the seatbelt sign was switched off, I had a man come over and ask to change seats. The first time he asked politely, saying that he's 6'4" and flying is painful for him. Can we please change seats? I was open to it until I saw that his seat was way in the back of the plane, and so I told him, no, sorry, I paid extra to sit up front. He kind of got increasingly mad and wouldn't leave, saying there's no reason someone with my height needs extra legroom. I told him I paid to be up front. I suggested that he ask the other people in those seats if they could swap, but he refused, saying he wouldn't want to bother other men or split up couples. He kept getting rude and angry, so I just called over a flight attendant who told him to go sit down. For the rest of the flight, he would walk past for no reason, slamming into me. I was sitting aisle. Was I in the wrong? Should I have swapped with him? You paid extra for the seat, it's your seat. Are you an a-hole for not switching with him? No, I don't think so. If you sit in the back of any vehicle, in the back of any vehicle like a plane or a bus, you actually get more motion from bumps and turbulence. So I would get bad motion sickness if I sat in the back of the plane. This guy needs to learn to book further in advance and book the seats that he needs. And honestly, it's terrible. It kind of sucks that they just don't have enough legroom for every single person. Down in the comments by JediSilk015. So my brother is 6'6". You know what he does when he has to fly? He makes sure to get an emergency exit row or whatever row has extra legroom. He usually has to pay for it. Any tall person with a lick of common sense knows they have to do this for flights. This tall person knows they will need more legroom but chose to try to get out of paying for it by getting a person to switch. OP was totally in their right to say no, especially as they paid extra, and tall person does not have the right to be a jerk about it. Did tall guy offer OP to reimburse her the extra amount paid? Of course not. And gotta love that tall guy targeted the lone woman and wouldn't think to bother a man or couples. Guy was a jerk, nuff said. The end, not the a-hole. Under that by Never Let It Rest. Honestly, airlines need to be forced to have seating suitable for actual people. The guy was obviously 100% an a-hole, but you should not have to pay more due to your physical attributes or be forced to sit in painful positions. All seats should be able to reasonably fit people. But yeah, this guy tried to bully someone he thought was an easy target, small woman, and refused to pull the same crap on anyone else, men. He was a mega a-hole and should know what to do as a tall person on a plane. Pay for the legroom. At least until this changes. They probably won't, though. This led to a fairly interesting discussion amongst people that focused on the fact that if they did give people extra legroom, they'd probably have to remove a row of seats from the plane, and then the cost of seats would go up. As if the cost of the flight is not already extravagant enough. Airlines make an absolute fortune off of people. There's planes that charge $1,000 a seat. I can guarantee you that person and their luggage and the cost of everything involved with them being on that plane is not $1,000. They make a killing, and it's really kind of gross. And if you try to book a cheap flight, you get there and they're like, oh, well, you can't take that bag on the plane. You gotta pay us $70 for your bag to go with you. And what are you gonna do? You have to pay it at that point. I can't stand airlines, and I know most people agree with me on that. Our next post is by Momonomo10. Am I the a-hole for asking people to be out of the gazebo I paid to reserve at the park at the time I reserved it? I paid to reserve the gazebo at the park for my daughter's birthday from 2 to 4. People are going to come at 2:30, so I have 30 minutes to set everything up. I get there at 1:50. There are people in the gazebo that I've reserved having a birthday. Full array still out. Balloons, presents, food, decorations, etc. They are socializing and not even cleaning up yet. I politely asked the host if they wouldn't mind being out by 2 p.m. so I could set up for our party. Again, I've paid to reserve this gazebo at 2 p.m. and only have about 30 minutes to set up decorations, food, etc. until people start coming. They started cleaning up and were out on time. As they were leaving, I said, "Thank you so much. Sorry to kick you guys out." The host said, "That's okay. Kind of rude, but whatever." She was upset that they were in the middle of her daughter's birthday and said that they book these things back to back and should expect some overlap. So, am I the a-hole? Should I have expected some overlap? Personally, we were out by 4 for the next party because they paid for it starting at 4, and our time was up at 4. I feel like if I paid for it at 2 p.m., they should be out, not starting to clean up at that point. I get that it was annoying. It wasn't super fun having to clean up my party and rushing it out either, but at the end of the day, I feel like they should have planned their time better or reserved more time. Not my problem, and I did try to still be polite. Am I the a-hole? I think you know you're not the a-hole in this. I think the party before you are the buttholes. They should have planned their time accordingly. You don't book the place from like noon through to 2 o'clock. You book it for noon to 1:30 and then you clean up and get out of there. That is what you should be expected to do. That being said, I've never heard of a place that just rents out gazebos for a party. And if they're booking people back to back, it must be a pretty popular gazebo. Down in the comments by Remy the Magnificent. Not the a-hole. She knows they're booked back to back. She knew someone else would be coming in and she needed to leave or she'd be taking up someone else's time. If she was in the middle of her daughter's birthday, she had no intention of being out anywhere near 2 o'clock. Underneath that by Organized Chaos. Agreed, but I'll add that OP shouldn't have apologized for asking to take possession at the time they paid for. While it was probably meant to be friendly and non-threatening, it actually comes off as doormat, as if OP actually did say or do something wrong, which they didn't. It also gave the opening for the woman to call them rude, which they also weren't. Our next story is by Princess Wedding, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for saying no to dressing as a Disney princess for a wedding? So I'm a 24 female and I'm friends with Holly, who's 28, who's getting married next summer. Holly has always been a Disney girly, and I wasn't surprised when she told me and the other bridesmaids she wanted us to dress as Disney princesses. Holly is going to wear a huge, glittery, glammed up ball gown, and we'll all be in dresses that are a more modern take on the princesses' dresses. But there will be text on the invite stating which bridesmaid is which princess and which groom is which prince. There are 5 of us, and she wants us each in a different color, so she has chosen Ariel, pink, Cinderella, blue, Belle, yellow, Rapunzel, purple, and Tiana, green. She picked who would be who for us and told me that she wants me as Tiana since I have black hair. The problem is, I'm white. The entire bridal party is white. You can see why I'm not feeling this choice. I brought it up privately with Holly and tried to suggest alternatives for green, Merida from Brave or Anna from Frozen, but she shot them down. Merida's dress is actually blue, and she has no prince, and she doesn't like Frozen. I told Holly that I will not be Tiana for her wedding, and I'm stepping down unless she accepts one of the alternatives or provides another. She called me a B-word and a terrible friend and said nobody is going to care. I told her that I care, and I'm not doing it. I've gotten some Facebook messages from her family and friends asking why I'm being so difficult, and there's that phrase again, why are you being difficult? And why I'm trying to ruin Holly's wedding. And even a couple of bridesmaids have told me just to suck it up because I'm throwing Holly's plan out of whack. I'm standing my ground on this, but the pushback has me kind of wondering if I'm making something out of nothing. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Bride only asked me to get a tan. Nowhere did I comment that she asked everyone. Even if I had done so and deleted the comment, someone in this thread would still be able to find it, or at least the deleted marker in one of the comment threads. Edit 2. Woke up to the post locked and a lot of hate in my inbox, so that's fun. Awaiting a judgment flare because there are too many comments going both ways for me to know what the majority here ruled, but I got some good advice. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, the moderators locked this thread because people were not being civil. I didn't really read through a lot of them to see why people were getting so heated. Let's just say that racial issues can be quite contentious. The top comment underneath is by Particular Ad 1735. I don't think anyone would be offended if you were dressed as Tiana, or a modern take on Tiana, unless you wore blackface. I'm assuming she didn't want you to do that. The OP had replied to that comment and said no, she didn't want that. Like, it's just a dress. You do not have to have your body match them as well. Do you really think that even if you were a darker skinned girl, you would look exactly like her? Everybody's face is different. There's no reason for you to have said, well, because I'm not darker skinned, I can't wear that dress. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have to say you're a bit of an a-hole in this one. Not a big one, but you are a bit of an a-hole. You could have just worn the dress. It does not matter what your skin color is at all. Everybody who knows Disney would look at your dress and be like, she's wearing the Tiana dress. That's beautiful. That'd be nice. Instead, you decided because you're not dark-skinned, you can't wear that dress. And that's just not cool. But you do not have to do anything you're not comfortable with, so you made your choice. You don't do what you're not comfortable with. And it does not matter what anybody says at that point. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have a wonderful day.